Jai Mohanji. My name is Bimal Lohana and Om Sai Ram. Today I'll be reading a chapter from Sai Charitra, chapter number 50. You can also listen to the free audio version of this chapter on YouTube, chapter 50. Uh, these are the stories of Kaka Sahib Dikshit, Sri Tembai Swami, and Balaram Durandar. Chapter 50 of the original Sai Charitra has been incorporated in chapter 39 as it is dealt with the same subject matter. Now, chapter 51 of Sai Charitra has been treated here as chapter 50. This chapter gives us the stories of Kaka Sahib Dikshit, Sri Tembe Swami, and Balaram Durandar. Preliminary. Victory, victory be unto Sai, who is the sole refuge of his devotees, and our Sadguru, who expounds the meaning of Gita and gives us all the powers. O Sai, look down favorably upon us and bless us all. Sandalwood trees grow on the Malaya mountains and ward off heat. Clouds pour their rainwater and thereby cool and refresh everyone. Flowers blossom in the spring and enable us to offer them to God. Similarly, the stories of Sai Baba gives us solace and comfort to the readers. Both those who tell stories and those who hear the stories of Baba are blessed and holy. It is a well established spiritual fact that even though one may try hundreds of means, we do not attain the spiritual goal of life unless a Sadguru blesses us with his grace. Here the following stories in an illustration of this statement. Kaka Sahib Dikshit, 1864 to 1926. Mr. Hari Sitaram, alias Kaka Sahib Dikshit, was born in 1864 in a Brahmin family in Khandwa. His primary education was completed at Khandwa and his secondary education in Nagpur. He came to Bombay for his higher education and studied first in Wilson College and then in Elphinstone College. After graduation in 1883, he passed his LLB and the solicitor's examination and then worked in a firm of a government solicitor, Messrs. Little and Company. Then, after some time, he started a solicitor's firm of his own. Before 1909, Mr. Kaka Sahib did not know about Baba, but soon he became a great devotee. While he was living in Lonavala, he happened to meet his old friend, Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar. Both spent time talking about many things. Kaka Sahib described how he was boarding a train in London when he met with an accident and his foot slipped and he was injured. Hundreds of remedies had given him no relief. He also gave a detailed description of Sai Baba and mentioned to him Sai Baba's dictum: I draw to me my people from even across the seven seas, like a sparrow with a string fastened to its feet. He also made it clear to him that if he was not Baba's man, he would not be attracted to him and he would not give him darshan. Kaka Sahib was pleased to hear all this and said he would go to Baba, see him and pray to him to cure not so much his lame leg, but to bring around his lame, fickle mind and give him eternal bliss. Soon after this, Kaka Sahib went to Ahmednagar and stayed with Sirdar Kaka Sahib Mirkar in connection with securing votes for a seat in the Bombay Legislative Council. Mr. Balasahib Mirkar, Kaka Sahib Mirkar's son, who was Mamlatdar at Kopargaon, was also in Ahmednagar for a horse exhibition. After the election business was over, Kaka Sahib Dikshit wanted to go to Shirdi, and the Mirkars were also thinking about a fit and a proper guide from whom he should be sent there. Sai Baba was at that time arranging things for his reception. Shama got a telegram from his father-in-law at Ahmednagar stating that his mother-in-law was seriously ill and that he should come to see her with his wife. Shama, with Baba's permission, went there and saw his mother-in-law and found her improving and better. Nana Sahib Panche and Appa Sahib Gadre happened to meet Shama on their way to the horse exhibition. Kaka Sahib Dikshit and Mirkars were also informed of Shama's arrival in the evening. Shama visited the Mirkars who introduced him to Kaka Sahib. They arranged that Shama should leave for Kopargaon with Kaka Sahib by the 10 o'clock night train. After this was settled, a curious thing happened. Balasaheb Mirkar removed the cover on Baba's big portrait and showed it to Kaka Sahib. Kaka Sahib was surprised to see that whom he was going to meet in Shirdi was already there in the form of a portrait to greet him. He was already moved and prostrated before the portrait. The portrait belonged to Megha. The glass over it had been broken and sent to Mirkars for repair. The necessary repairs had already been made, and it was decided to return the portrait with Kaka Sahib and Shama. Before 10 o'clock, they went to the train and booked their passage. But when the train arrived, they found the second class was so overcrowded and there was no room for them. Fortunately, the guard of the train turned out to be the acquaintance of Kaka Sahib, and they put him in the first class. And he put them up in first class. Thus they travelled comfortably and alighted at Kopargaon. Their joy knew no bounds when they met there. Nana Sahib Chandorkar, who was also bound for Shirdi, Kaka Sahib and Nana Sahib embraced each other, and then after bathing in the sacred Godavari river, they started for Shirdi. After arriving there and receiving Baba's darshan, Kaka Sahib's mind melted. His eyes were full of tears and overflowing with joy. Baba said that he had been waiting for Kaka Sahib and sent Shama to receive them. Kaka Sahib then spent many happy years in Baba's company. He built a Wada mansion in Shirdi and which later became his permanent home. The experiences he received from Baba was so profound that it was not possible to relate them all here. The readers are advised to read a special Kaka Sahib Dikshit edition of the Sri Sai Leela magazine. We close this account with the mention of a fact. Baba had comforted him by saying in the end, he would take him in a Viman, air coach, secure him a happy death. This turned out to be true. On the 5th of July, 1926, he was traveling on a train and talking about Sai Baba. He seemed deeply engrossed in Sai Baba. All of a sudden, he leaned his neck on a fellow traveler's shoulder and breathed his last with no trace of pain or uneasiness. Sri Tembe Swami. This brings us to the next story, which shows how saints love each other with fraternal affection. Once Sri Vasudev Anand Saraswati, known as Sri Tembe Swami, was encamped at Raja Mahendri, Andhra, on the banks of the Godavari. He was a devout orthodox Jnani and a yogi bhakta of God Dattatreya. Mr. Pundalik Rao, a pleader from Nanded, Nizam State, went to meet him with some friends. While they were talking to him, the names of Shirdi and Sai Baba were casually mentioned. Hearing Baba's name, the Swami bowed with his hands and gave a coconut, and taking a coconut gave it to Pundalik Rao. He then said to Pundalik Rao, "Offer this to my brother Sai with a bow and request him not to forget me and always love me." He also said that Swamis do not generally bow to other Swamis, but in this case an exception had to be made. Mr. Pundalik Rao consented to take the fruit and the message to Baba. The Swami was right in calling Baba a brother, for the Swami, like Baba, maintained a sacred fire day and night in an orthodox fashion. After a month, Pundalik Rao and few others left for Shirdi with the coconut and reached Manmad. After they felt thirsty, they went to a rivulet to drink river. Then they felt that the water should should not be drunk on an empty stomach, and thus they took out some chivda, flattened rice mixed with spices. The chivda tasted pungent, and in order to soften the taste, someone suggested they break a coconut and mix its scrapings with it. Thus they made the chivda more tasty and palatable. Unfortunately, the fruit was broken, and was the one that was entrusted to Pundalik Rao. As the neared Shirdi, Pundalik Rao remembered the promise and was very sorry to learn that it was broken and used. Trembling with fear, he came to Shirdi and saw Sai Baba had already received a divine message regarding the coconut from Tembe Swami, and he himself asked Pundalik Rao to give him the things sent by his brother. Pundalik Rao held Baba's feet, confessed his guilt and negligence, repented and asked for Baba's pardon. He offered to give another fruit as a substitute, but Baba refused to accept it, saying that the value of the coconut was by far many times more than an ordinary one, and that it could not be replaced by another one. Baba also added, "Now you need not to worry about yourself anymore about the matter. It wasn't an account of my wish that the coconut was entrusted to you and ultimately broke on the way. Why should you take responsibility for these actions? Do not entertain the sense of doership in doing good or bad deeds. Remain entirely prideless and egoless in all things, and thus your spiritual progress will be rapid." What a beautiful spiritual lesson. Balram Dhurandhar. Mr. Balram Dhurandhar lived in Bombay. He was an advocate of the Bombay High Court and a former principal of the Government of Law School in Bombay. The whole Dhurandhar family was pious and religious. Mr. Balram served his community and wrote and published an account of it. He then turned his attention to spiritual and religious matters. He studied the Gita and its commentary, the Gyaneshwari, assiduously, and also studied other philosophical and metaphysical works. He was a devotee of Vithoba of Pandharpur and came in contact with Sai Baba in 1912. 6 months prior to this, his brothers Babulji and Vaman Rao came to Shirdi and received Baba's darshan. They returned home and mentioned their sweet experiences to the other family members. Then the whole family decided to see Sai Baba. Just before they arrived in Shirdi, Baba declared openly, "Today many of the people from my darbar, the royal court, are coming." The Dhurandhar brothers were also astonished to hear Baba's remark from the others, as they had not given previous intimation of their trip. Everyone prostrated themselves before Baba and sat talking to him. Baba then said to everyone else, "These are the people whom I referred to before," and said to Dhurandhar brothers, "We have been acquainted with each other for the past 60 generations." All the brothers were meek and modest, and they stood with joined hands, staring at Baba's feet. Returned to the masjid. Staring at Baba's feet. Tears flowed from their eyes, and they were overcome with emotion. Then they went to their lodgings, had their meals, and after resting for a while, returned to the masjid. Balram sat near Baba, massaging his legs. Baba, who was smoking a chillam, clay pipe, advanced it towards him and beckoned him to smoke it. Balram was not accustomed to smoking, yet he accepted the pipe, smoked it with great difficulty, and returned it reverentially with a bow. This was an auspicious moment for Balram. He had been suffering from asthma from the past 6 years, and this smoke completely cured him of the disease. 6 years later, on a particular day, he again had an attack of asthma. This was precisely the time when Baba embarked on his Mahasamadhi. The day they returned, the day they visited was a Thursday, and the Dhurandhar brothers had a good fortune of witnessing the Chavdi procession. Balram saw the luster of Pandurang, his beloved deity, on Baba's face during that procession, and again next morning during the Kakad Aarti. Mr. Balram Durandar wrote in, in Marathi the life of Saint Tukaram, but did not survive to see his publication. It was later published by his brothers in 1928. In a short note on Balram's life, given in the beginning of the book, the above account of Balram's visit has been fully corroborated therein. Bow to Shri Shirdi Sai and peace be to all. Om Sai Ram. Thank you for listening.